Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so this morning I want to work on this piece, the one that goes through all the different colours. So I've been thinking, because I did pots down here with my little lady, I have covered off on the prompt technically, so I'm going to combine the garden shed prompt and the pot shed together. So I feel like I've done that. Whether I put some more pots in somewhere, I'm just not sure. Now, I mentioned in the last video that I've been thinking about doing a swing for this little lady in her garden. So I sketched a couple things in my last video and I'm still not sure where I'm heading with this, whether I'm going to do just a random branch with the swing coming off, or I build an actual tree and then build the branches out from there with the swing coming off. Yeah, I'm just can't decide. I still can't. I've been thinking about this for a few days now. The other thing is I can't decide where to put it. This area here is my last really good big space without extending, and I guess I can't not extend it. It's easy enough just to add some more of the felt on the back here, and this little piece of lace just becomes part of the extension and it wouldn't look out of place at all. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Where could I put a swing for my lady? Do I want to use this space yet? Is there something else better? See, I think what's bothering me is in the air here, let's call it the sky, I've already got it heavily laced. So anything that goes over that has to really stand on its own. The other thing is this zone here, this blue, is really strong. Good morning, Casper. Is really strong in colour. So that's bothering me a little bit too. It probably needs to be pushed back a bit. So maybe I'll deal with that first and we'll see where we go. So I grabbed out my cheesecloths and I'm just going to see if there's a piece or a colour here that I can cut a bit off and drift it in just to back that off a little bit. It's probably a little bit fresh. That's too blue. That's too blue. This is a dirty colour, cobblestone. Thinking this might be a... Just needs just something, just to push it back a little bit. Yeah, like that. I think I'm going to add some cobblestone. And the other thing I've grabbed is the book that we've all been referring to or considering purchasing or just already have, and that's Jennifer Foolproof Flowers. And I thought maybe I'll just have a look through that and see if there's something that takes my fancy. Let's there's the hounds having a woof. Must be a walker out on the road. I don't know how they hear these things. I know the messages get passed from the end of the street along at times. You'll hear them. I might turn that up the other way so the thick piece is on the bottom. Yeah, that's going to make a bit of a difference, I think. I'm sort of, I don't know what it is. I'm worried, I guess, that I use this space for something that is technically not a prompt, like a swing under a tree. And then I've sort of used my opportunity up. Does that make sense? And I know I can extend it, like I'm probably overthinking it. But, you know, when you have a feeling, don't do it. That's the feeling I'm getting for some reason. I'll be happier when this dark blue in here has been pushed back a bit. It sort of didn't feel so pastel-y. And I guess too, if there's we get to the end and we find that there isn't a prompt that suits this space, well then it's, you know, I can do whatever to finish off the piece. I don't have to do a structure of such. I can go back to the flower, which is sort of what I think I want to do. I want to keep it flowery. I don't know. But, you know, the little swing and a flowery tree does sort of interest me. But then I need a fairly strong tree. What I mean by that, I think my branches and all that need to be quite thick if it goes into this area, because it's got a lot to compete with. It's got a lot of lace in the background. Oh, I don't know. I'm sure something will come to mind. Just got to get it out of my mind. Let's just get this little task done. Yeah, looking back up the piece, it's like flicking out my table now. It's heaps better. Already I can see that this little piece of cheesecloth and this gauze that's over the top of that blue linen is a similar tone to everything else. Even though it's the blue linen's peeking through, it's actually okay, because the same happened with that piece of purple. It was peeking through, and it wasn't until I put that little bit of tulle over the top that it really knocked the colour back a bit. Oh, don't knot that up. Don't catch the lace. Come on. Okay. Lovely. Oh, I'm so pleased that's done. So it's funny how if there's a section that's bothering you, you need to go back to it. You need to just have another little play with it. You may not sort it in the first crack at it, but I'm wondering if this little bit of blue will help me. Okay, let's have a little look. I might lay it down. Oh, heaps better. Heaps better. I'm going to just lay it down so that you guys can sort of see it transition. It's not as easy as I thought. If I do that, see how it feels like it's... I'm just looking at that front bit there. Just in there. I wonder if I could fit a swing in there. There's my tree. I don't know. Come back over to here. See, I wouldn't mind putting a beehive in this piece as well. It'll sort of just really seal the fact that this is actually a garden. Maybe I tuck a little beehive. Where's that button? I'm not going to use the button, but the button has been a little source of inspiration for me. I could nestle a little beehive on the back here. The other thing is this branch, maybe I can bring a swing in under here. It'd be simple. it'd give me a little feature here. I've just grabbed my pen. How big of a swing do I make? What angle do I put the swing? Is it in the distance? Is it close? Is it a hint of a swing? Do I make it quite broad? See, these are all very important questions. I'm going to get my ruler. See, if I put, now I feel like I'm getting somewhere. If I put my swing here, so it's close to the ground. So you've got to think my crinoline lady's bottom. Where is she? Then I could do a few little things around the base of it. Where is the girl? Come here, little girl. Okay, she's not in proportion, so forget about that. I was going to line her bottom up with the blooming swing. Crazy. Well, anyone who looks at this piece for the first time, will they know it's a swing? Doesn't matter. Probably not. Just getting this line. How thick do I make it? Oh yeah. Why didn't I think of doing it up here? That blue area, it's like my, I don't know, it's like my kryptonite. But I must say, I'm very happy with that now. I wonder, can it handle, I'm going off again up at the other end. I've got some of this fabric left on the table, some of this linen. Would it look odd, it being that colour? Yeah, it sort of would. What about a more natural colour? That's probably more suited. Okay, let's have a go at drawing. Where's my button? My inspiration. I might even, let's cheat. Come on, let's have a lazy day. I wonder if I just add another bump. It's sort of the right size, isn't it? By the time I put it on a stand or some legs, I'll just trace around that. And then I might move it down. I don't need to move it down. I can guesstimate it. It sort of does look like it might be too big if I do that, you know. Isn't that funny? That might be the right size, a little beehive. Just keep looking at this pumpkin, which is massive. Is it because it's 3? Let's put it on a stand. Maybe that is the right size, and I just need it on a little stand. Whether I use this fabric, I'd say I'll stitch the stand anyway, but I can use the fabric. See, there's a good reason why you should never ever clean your table up when it comes to fabric. And if you're in those tones, just do a tidy up and keep all of those goodies around you, because I would have put this piece of fabric away and we'd never have seen it again until I happened upon it. So I don't know, if there's a theory in tidying up properly or just doing a light tidy around your work zone so you're surrounded with goodies. It's a bit hard when you're on the kitchen table, isn't it? Or do you just stop feeding your family and just keep stitching? Yeah, something to think about, isn't it? Who was I chatting to on comments? They mentioned, I think it was Jan. Hello, Jan. I think Jan mentioned that in addition to clothes shopping, she hates grocery shopping. And I tend to agree with her. I tend to think that it is just, the only time I like it is when I'm hungry. And you race in and you want to grab a few things, but you're hungry. Or you haven't had breakfast and you want to do your shop first thing in the morning and you're hungry. And then you buy all this good stuff, all the bad stuff. And you spend $50 more than you need to because you're hungry. It's the only time I like grocery shopping, because it's just like, if they would let you eat as you walked. I don't know if I'm going to need this stand. Like, it's so fine. I tend to think I'll stitch over that, but it is going to give me my proportions a little. Let's get our little... See, this button has been on my desk for probably 12 months, just kicking around. And here it is making a feature. I think I've picked it up a few times in my stitcheries as just as a little... There we go. This is the ittiest bittiest beehive. Let's have a look. Do I like it there? I do, but do I love it? Probably not. Beehive, where am I going to put you? Maybe let's go for a little wander through the garden and see if it will suit somewhere else. Oh, goodness. We're back up here. Oh. I think it needs to go right there, and I think that little piece of lace... Oh, you can't even see. Let me just zoom in for a moment. See, I don't know if you can see. See that little piece of lace sticking out there, those 3 little beads? I think the beehive needs to go there, and I think that little bit of lace needs to come across in front of it. And then what I'll do, oh yes, here we go. What I'll do then is I can then go from that point there right through to probably here with little flowers to finish that bottom. And I'm back into the beiges and yeah, done. Done. Okay, what am I doing first? I need to, first of all, lift, thank you little beehive, lift this little bit of stitching here. So there's some little invisible stitches in there. Well, I still have my blue area for future prompts because there's still quite a few prompts to go. So, and I found somewhere where I can play. So I'm just going to loosen that little stitch off of there. There we go. It's easy enough to undo your invisible stitch wherever you need it to be undone. Okay, let's snip that Gosh, I did not know I was going to be up here at the beginning of the channel. Video. That's what I love about this slow stitch is you do not know where you're going to go sometimes. You sit down at your piece. Is that enough lifted? No, need a little bit more. Just a bit. And that'll nestle nicely there. And I might lift it a little bit so it feels like it's bigger than what it is. That's pretty good. Yeah, and that will sneak across the front. Yeah, happy with that. So I'm going to pop a pin, and that fabric there hadn't yet been anchored down with any background stitching. It's still puffy, so it still needs right through that whole background some additional stitching, like a camphor stitch or a seed, probably a seed stitch, because it'll be nice and small. I've got to do in around the little bird house too, all with seed stitch, just to really marry together this little piece. Okay, what am I thinking now? Mouthful of coffee is what I was thinking. Let's get some little invisible stitches in here. Now my swing, what colour do I make my swing? Do I make it subtle? Do I make it chocolate so it stands out? Oh, Caspy, hello. Caspy's come up to say hello. Big bad Caspy. Ouchky, ow, ow. There's the feet, there's a foot. Oh, he's a beautiful boy. And a tail. Hello, everyone. And ears. Hey, Casper. Hey. He's jumped up on my lap with all his claws. Good on you, Casper. Hey. Let's just pop you under the camera so you can say hello to everyone. Hey, Casper. Hello. No pussy. Yeah. It's a good boy. All right, back off. You're interrupting my flow. And that's about all he wants, is just that little bit of human touch, and then he's out of here. I'm thinking I'm going to just stitch it straight down with that stitch, overcast stitch around the end in cream cotton. Will I come back and do a running stitch or a stem stitch around it? I don't know yet. It might be too much and it might overpower it. Don't know. I'm just going to pop a few little stitches just to hold it. I won't do all of it because we'll be here all day and you'll be watching me do a little running stitch, not an overcast stitch holding my little piece down. I'm going to try and keep the little brown legs at this stage. I will need to find a cotton to stitch the bands on. So I might, just looking at this little scrap of crochet cotton, that would do it. I could have used it to stitch it down, but then I would have had these strokes going around the perimeter like bands, and I don't think it sort of suits that. I think I need to come through with an additional highlight thread and follow the line of the beehive so that you're really selling in the idea that it is a beehive. Yeah, I'm liking that. back to where that lace is. So I'm just going to catch the lace. That's really making it look like there's been a bit of forethought there and it's part of the background, like we did it way back in the first week. Just sometimes that little bit that comes over something can help sell in the idea. Oh, I really like this. Really, really like it. What a nice start to this piece when you pick it up. Not that it's actually the start, it'd be the end because you're rolling it up. So this is the beginning or the end. In your hand, it'd be the end. Okay, so I'm just down now here. And I'll do that leg and then I'm going to stop doing this stitch because I'm wasting time. I can always come back to it if it progresses quite quickly. I can come back and finish it. But I want to have a play with this. This little morsel was in a like a Lifeline. It's our thrift store equivalent in Australia. And I pulled into Maryborough to get some honey from this shop that is just like a small grocery / convenience store, but they have honey from a local guy that is friends to my family. And now my uncle, he is a beekeeper, and his 2 sons are also beekeepers now. They've all in the family business or complement the family business in some way. So anyway, I really needed some more honey, and I use honey instead of sugar in my coffee. I use honey pretty much instead of sugar, full stop. So I was really low and I thought, oh, surely I'd get some honey up there when we were passing through. And I bought a bucket of honey from the area, and it had the name on the bucket, on the label. So I rang the number and said, oh, hi, can I buy some honey? I notice your base or your farm or home, whatever it was, is near the Bruce Hiveway. I'm passing through. Can I drop in and pick up some honey? And I'd like to buy, quite a few buckets to keep me going. And he said, I'm not selling direct to the public because I have outlets. And I said, oh, that's fine. Where are the outlets? And he mentioned this particular supermarket, which was not far from the highway. And I thought, oh, well, we'll detour into the top of Maryborough, and from there we could cut through anyway to where we were going. Long story, I know, but that's how I go. I then, across the road, or next door, I noticed this Lifeline. All you Maryborough girls, you're going to be able to work out where I was by this story ends. Yeah, so across the road was this Lifeline. So I went in there and there really wasn't a lot there, but I was on the hunt for some blankets because we were about to get a puppy, and that puppy was Pepper. And I didn't have any small blankets. I had plenty of blankets that were old and could be donated, but they were, a double bed or a queen bed. And I just couldn't bring myself to cutting them up. They were probably more valuable in their full size for someone in the thrift world, if I ever did decide to let them go, than me chopping them up for the dog bed. Anyway, I go in, I said to my husband, once I got back to the car with the honey, I said, look, there's a Lifeline over there. I'm going to go for a quick look. I really need some dog blankets for this puppy coming. So anyway, off I go. I trottle across the road, and in there was some great dog blankets. They literally had a bin called dog blankets. So it was fantastic. And they're all like what you would put over your lap on the couch type blankets. So I found a few and was heading to the counter. I had a bit of look through the craft section, the doily section. There was hardly anything in there. It was more furniture, the place. Only a little bit of bits and pieces. But my guess is it was more of a furniture outlet. So I get to the counter to pay for my blankets. And on the counter is lots of bowls with just bits in it, trinkety bits. And sitting in one of the bowls was this. It had a little bit more thread on it, but not much. It was literally in that shape, a flattened looking cardboard spindle. So I picked it up and they had 20 cents on it. I thought, well, that's a bargain. So I've been nibbling away at that little reel of fabric, cotton, and it's just the prettiest colour. It's a real creamy gold. So I have got my 20 cents worth out of that. You just never know where you're going to pick up little, as I mentioned in my previous videos, I'm heading up to Harvey Bay to some friends on the weekend to deliver Pepper so that they can babysit her while I go on holidays. And they texted me yesterday. They went to a garage sale. I don't think I got my phone in here. And they sent me 2 photos of this miscellaneous craft stuff. Now the one photo is rolls of, can I get that thread in there? Rolls of crochet cotton. And the other photo is just, I don't know what it is. I can sort of see fabric. I can sort of see, so that'll stitch down. So that's all right. What I'm going to try and do is I might start with the ring across the front and see what that looks like. I'm being a bit cheeky here. I should really have finished the perimeter of the little bird, the beehive. But I'm going to try and put this little stitch line in first because maybe I don't need to go around the perimeter. This little highlight, let's do satin stitch. That'll just disguise that stitch a little more. When you do running stitch, not running stitch, basting stitch or straight stitch. Oh, look, there's too many stitches. If you want to disguise the fact that there is a stitch, satin stitch is the way to go because it just drags the stitch back onto the one prior. So it sort of makes the line disappear a little because you're dropping your stitch or your needle halfway through the previous stitch. So you get a softer line, if that makes sense. Did I finish my story? Oh, yes, my friends have, sent me these photos and they said, oh, what's this worth? There was 2 photos. One was this crocheting stuff and one was goodness knows what because I couldn't really see. And they were like, oh, what would you pay? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't even know what's in it. So I was like, oh, look. And then you start to feel guilty that you're probably not paying enough. So I said, look, without seeing it, I don't really know, but let's say $20 per photo. So I got the impression. I'm going to go back and take that stitch back out. I've jumped down I've jumped down and I'm going to finish the knot off. I'm going to knot it off and then come from that opposite side again. Now I'll probably use satin stitch on the swing as well, but I will find something a little bit thicker than this. So that's pretty good. So I just want to come up over here and start it again. Yeah, so anyway, about 20 minutes goes by and I get a text with, I got the lot for $20. So the crochet cotton alone is worth 20. So I hope they didn't beat the poor person down too much, because the crochet cotton alone was $20 worth. I might we'll stop the video at the end, just before the end, and I'll grab my phone and I'll come back and I'll show you the two photos. I haven't had a real good look at the photos too, because I was in the middle of a grocery store when they sent me the pictures and said, oh, we're at a garage sale. I think you guys in the States call garage sales estate sales. I think if it's an estate sale here in Australia, it means that someone has passed away and they're clearing out their estate. I'm not sure that's the same for you guys, but that's what it is here in Australia. It's not a term you hear very often because it's more maybe an auction or a clearance sale of a farm would be something along those lines. Where here we call them garage sales because often they're set up in the garage or on the front lawn. So I think that's where that is the dodgiest stem stitch. I'm really not concentrating, and there's some real dog-eared stitches in there. Oh boy, Grandma wouldn't be happy. She'd make me unpick that. Sorry, Grandma. Got schedules to keep. We're moving along. It's called slow stitch, Grandma. It's not like it used to be. We can get away with blue murder now. And then I can hear her saying, but do you want to, Corrine? Yes. There we go. That is shocking. Hey, look how crooked it is. Do I unpick it? Oh my goodness. What went wrong? My shape should have come more. Do we want it to be perfect? Does it have to be perfect? No. Oh. Am I going to have another bird tail incident? It's just not quite right, is it? Oh, I can't do it. I've got to unpick it. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. It's old thread too, so I'm probably pushing the friendship here. Maybe I can only need to go, and it was right here it went pear-shaped. That stitch there is not seated within the line. That's the one, and it's just dropped a fraction down and therefore sent the line at a different angle. Yeah, so I've gone back and I'm just going to lift the stitch a fraction so at the base of that curve. Oh man, that stitch there is too small. Here we go, where that bloomin' bird tail I don't know if you've watched my video where I was doing the birdhouse in the doily. There was a little bird sitting on the ledge at the top of the image that had this little fanny little tail, and it gave me grief. I don't know how many times I unpicked that thing. Okay, so now we're off again. Let's just get our act together here. That feels too high. If this comes out crooked again, I'm not unpicking it. I'm going to move along. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to Hervey Bay to see what treasures I've inherited. The lot for $20. I think the crochet cotton will be fairly big stuff too, looking at it. You know, the size you would use if you were crocheting the top of a tea towel? That's what I think this person was up to, looking at the range of cottons. But that's okay, because that gives you thicker ones to use. You don't always need... See, now my stitch is just a fraction above, and I think, yeah. Whew. Let's end that off, because I don't want to waste any of that thread. And I'm going to, oh, there's barely any thread left, like, for goodness sakes, Corrine, get up another piece of thread. Some more will come my way. So let's now do the little opening. So I'm definitely not going to go around the outer edge of this. Well, am I? Let's have another look. Yeah, I think it's holding its own. It's subtle, which is what I like. Maybe once those red lines are off might be a different story. I'm going to just do the little opening now. Technically, I should have done the stitch different to that to start off stem, but anyway, we get there in the end. Okay. Oh, this tangle. Okay, so it must be about Wednesday for you guys. For me, it's Monday. So I am coming fast up to the Friday where I won't be able to make videos anymore. So I do have one for Friday and one for Saturday, which are from previous filmings. It's Susanna's prompt, which is English paper piecing. So there's 2 videos made for that, one for each week, starting this week. So you'll see that piece come together. And then Henrik, the hair, making Henrik the hair, video number 2 will be up on Friday, and I think Saturday is vintage paper piecing. Anyway, so you may not have one Sunday. And then what I'll do for the rest of this week is I will work on the French garden, and those videos will pop up once I finish this piece. They'll be the next few. So you probably will get most of next week with videos, because I have Henrik back in there and part 2 of English paper piecing. It'll be the following week that it'll go pretty quiet. I'll be on the cruise ship, and B, it's a prompt reveal, so we're sort of at the stage where we start the whole process again. So the only thing you'll have is Henrik, and you'll have, I'm going to try and do a satin stitch. Now I ended off, I'm going to try and do a satin stitch around at least the posts. But I'm going to leave that for a moment because I'm wasting time on something that is pretty much straightforward. But I'm thinking I'll do something around that edge of the posts only. I won't worry about the hive. I will do just the posts. And most likely in this to keep it all neutral. So I'm going to leave that piece of cotton there. Now, let's have a think about this swing. Oh gosh, we've only got 15 minutes left. My go-to would be this chocolate. But it's so stark. Is there a better colour? I'll just zoom up a little bit. See how it's so stark? You don't want to be looking at I could probably handle the seat being that, but the chain coming down. Maybe this brown won't be as stark. I do love that, but yeah, that's better. Don't like that golden colour. This is pretty, but it might be too blendy. Oh, I do like that too. Maybe I do the seat in the chocolate and this for the chain. Where'd my needle get to? So it's 1/4 to. I'm going to use the 6 strands because I think there's cream thread. No, I think we want it to stand out a little. I'm going to try satin stitch again, just to make it feel a little bit more substantial. Never used to be a lover of satin stitch when I was a kid doing doilies, but I'm not really enjoying it again. I could never get my stitches straight so that they did look like it is a twisted stem or stem stitch, not satin stitch. Oh my goodness. Gosh, lucky I'm not teaching because it'd be a hot mess, wouldn't it? Stem stitch, not satin stitch. How often have I said satin stitch, guys? My brain's all over the place. I've got so much going on at the moment trying to get ourselves ready to get out of town that I feel like I said to my husband yesterday, I walk somewhere to do a task and on the way I see 20 other tasks, so I start them all. Therefore, 2 hours later, I finally finished the original task, and I feel exhausted because I've done 20 other things as well. It's like I go off on a tangent here and a tangent there. We've got a swimming pool, and sitting out on the picnic table has been a blow-up airbed thing that was brought out for some friends to play with while they were here a couple of weekends ago. That thing's been sitting on that picnic table for 2 weeks. Every time I walk past it, 3 times a day, easily. All I got to do is pick it up, bring it back into the house, and pop it in the spare room. Let the air out of the bit that your head sits on, and return it to the spare room. Finally, yesterday, I said, right, another job, a little quick job. I think we're getting ready to go out to get some food. And I thought, I'll go and get that airbed thing while I wait for my husband to meet me at the car in the garage. So I dodge out, and on the way, there's like 10 other things I did. And I finally got back to the room with the airbed in my hand, and I went to, it stands up behind a bookcase, so it's out of my way, and it wouldn't fit. So I'm shoving it in there, and I'm thinking, why aren't you going in? What's going on? And I should be in the car, and it's time to go, and panic. And I realised that the air was still in the bit where you put your head and the bit that's sort of around the perimeter of it, because it's mesh in the middle. So you lay in it and you drop into the water, but that little bit of air keeps you buoyant. Anyway, so much information. And I'm just going to start this here. So I'm shoving it in there, and then I finally realised what was going wrong. I needed to let the air out. So I've just popped it on the floor in the hallway, and here I am stomping on this thing, trying to release the air so that it would go down enough to slip in behind this bookcase. My husband comes out, takes one look at me, and I've got like hair everywhere. My head's hanging upside down between my legs, trying to release the pressure in this little valve with me feet stomping to get the air out. And I finally got it sorted, got it behind the bookcase, raced to the car, jumped in the front seat, took a deep breath. And I said to him, it's like one task leads to 10. I just cannot just go do one thing and wander back. Instead, I get myself into quite a state because I'm like, go. Yeah, it was pretty funny. So I was like giggling all the way out the street. And he's like, did you put the alarm on? I'm like, oh, I don't know. I said, I don't even know if I locked the front door or the back door or the side door. I got so caught up in these silly little tasks. So there's my swing. I love it. I love it. It's nice and chunky, the rope coming down, which is great. Yep. Oh, I love it. Do I use chocolate for the seat? It needs to be substantially thick. Do I put the chocolate seat there? I think I am, yeah. Oh, I love it. How cool is that? Thank you to all those ladies out there that were posting pictures of their pieces, and there were these little swings popping up everywhere. I think I saw 3 or 4 over the last few weeks. I have not knotted that. Focus on what I'm doing. And it's just been burning a hole in the back of my mind as a potential addition to the garden. I thought, how clever. A swing. My crinoline lady, she would need a swing. How are we going for time? Oh, plenty of time. I do need to save a few minutes at the end to show you these two photos, but I think I might even couch down this seat. That way I can get a reasonably straight line and do I do another row? Yeah, I might come up and do another row. And if I couch it, it'll keep it quite chunky. Yeah. I won't couch it much, but I'll just keep it a very soft stitch. As in, same colour. Like there's a couple little threads here from a previous ready to go and not in the end. And I might just, I just want to catch it in a few little spots. I don't want to totally stitch it down because it'll flatten it a little bit too much. And I might even keep this over stitch a little looser. Just gives it that little bit of texture by having that little stitch. My husband suggested a tire hanging. And I was like, no, I don't want a tire in my garden. We want a little timber seat. He goes, yeah, but they would have used a tire. I'm like, no, they wouldn't. Not a chance. Not in this garden. Have some class. This is a crinoline lady. Can you imagine her climbing into a tire hanging from a tree? Oh my goodness. He was adamant. He says, yeah, your garden needs a tire hanging from the tree. I'm like, no, it doesn't. There we go. Now we're not going to get time for flowers along the bottom and goodness knows what else. That'll be another day. But there we go. All I've got to do is just finish stitching that edge down, then get my little cream, my little golden thread. I'm going to do a little bit more work on that stand. I'll iron it next so that I can really see what it, if it needs anything at all. And then I can do some little flowers and things along the bottom, so which I'll do in another video. I'll leave it at that. So I'll just finish stitching him and then I'll take a photo and that'll be at the end. So I'm actually going to stop this video now. I'm going to go and grab my phone and show you the two photos of what is coming my way in the way of thrifting. Won't be a moment, guys. Okay, now I'll zoom in. So these are the two photos I got of what was available. And there's two bins. You can see one there and one just off shot. So that there, patterns, I can see some beads down the bottom there. The second photo was that. Let me come back a little bit so you can see the bigger shot. So heaps of crochet cotton. That in itself is worth $20 plus, I think. Then when they got home, they laid it all out on the carpet. And look at the cotton. That looks like flowers, beads, random things in a tin. So this is why I started to feel bad because I said $20. Oh, some of that there. That's that stuff they crochet onto coat hangers. I'd never use that. So there might be a little bit of that in there. There's the beads. That's handy. That's that thick crochet cotton. I use that all the time. Some random little Christmas decorations, a container, some cottons. I don't know what that is. That looks like fabric. So that's everything on the carpet there for $20. You see why I feel bad that they probably should have given her a little bit more. That looks like blossoms, or that's little, oh look, purple flowers. They might be handy for a certain piece. Stickers. So yeah, that's my goodies coming that my friends picked up at a garage sale. So that's a little bit exciting. There'll be some treasure in there for sure. All right, guys, I will leave you alone now. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.